Pcgtv. In that light, there is light. Pcgtv. In that light, there is light.
Hello out there. The peace of the Lord be with you. Welcome to Pcgtv Sports Time with Jerome. Today, I have a friendly conversation with one of my friends, someone who has been in the sports media space for some time, and is reputed for being one of the guys who speaks to the issues no matter who is involved. And we have visited him in his house or his home, to be specific, to have a chat on an issue that has been on our minds throughout the whole week: Black Stars. Let's go for a short break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest and the show will continue. It's the opportunity to visit you at home.
It's a pleasure to have the senior man here.
No, you are the senior. I'm not senior.
I'm so glad to be on your channel as well. I've seen the good job you guys are doing. Christianity and sports.
Yeah,
very, very important.
Yeah, we are trying to marry the two. Yeah. I mean, I always say that the guys who go to the stadium are the same people who go to the
church as well.
Go to church, yeah. And so you can't really separate us. Football, sports, athletics, boxing, they are all part of us. Anyway, so if you had looked at the daily graphic of Thursday, October 17, 2024, you would have seen that their banner headline carried something that is not usual of daily graphic. The very few times I have seen graphic put sports, or in this case football, on their front pages were days that maybe any of the Ghana's teams would have performed so well at the World Cup, or let's say an AFCON, or a Ghanaian club would have done something big enough to warrant the front pages of the daily graphic. In fact, one of the last times I saw daily graphic devoting their front page to a football story should be way back in 2008, when Asante Kotoko, in a dramatic fashion, beat Dolphins FC of Nigeria to qualify for the league stage of the Confederations Cup that year. But on Thursday, graphic gave Black Stars prominence in their front page, saying that abysmal Black Stars need rescue after 42 years trophy drought. Why does the Black Stars need rescue? The Black Stars have not been performing well. And here, maybe in the next few editions, we're going to look at what must be done to rescue the Black Stars. Felix, what do you think will have to be done to rescue the Black Stars from whatever has hit them?
Well, Jerome, thank you very much for the opportunity once again. I think that before we go to what we need to do, we first have to identify what the problem is.
So what do you think is the problem?
I think that I would say, first of all, it is the management of the team, and then the technical aspect of the team, and then also the playing body. So when you talk about the administrative aspect of the team, Jerome, we've had the current Football Association not having a proper plan for the national team.
Okay.
We've had an administration that has been in power for 5 years. And if you look at the plans or things that have gone on with the national team, I don't think it is something that they should be proud of. And when I talk about plan, you know, we've been in this situation before. And if I should go back as early as maybe 20 years ago when we didn't qualify for the AFCON, if you go back to New Zealand in 1999, when Ghana played under 17, we had a couple of players in that under 17 team. There was Don Bote, there was Ishmael Ado, a couple of guys who later went on to play for the under 20 in Argentina when Ghana lost 1-0 to a certain Saviola-led team. We had Adokwe Papo, we had John Mensah, we have John Pentel, we had Derek Boateng, we had Michael Essien. These were guys who were with the under 20 team, and some of the under 17 team from 99 had moved on to play the under 20. But before then, if you quite remember, there was a certain Stephen Appiah, you know, Atram and Co, who had gone to Ecuador in under 17 and won the under 17, Ecuador 95. And then from that squad, some of them went to Malaysia in the under 20 team, where we lost to a certain Uruguay side led by Zabalata and his brothers. So from the under 21 that we lost, that final that we lost, in 2002, there was an AFCON in Mali. And Ghana were knocked out. You quite remember Sami Kufuor, Jesse controversy and all that. I'm saying this because there was a path for 17 to 20 to 23 to the national team.
Is your argument that we don't have that path now? Because, I mean, listening to you mention Essien, John Pencil, John Mensah, and the rest, these players, I mean, a bulk of them, or even all of them, suddenly or years on became the core group on which Black Stars was built to not necessarily win a competition, but they dominated for some time.
And Jerome, from the AFCON in 2002, 4 years time, the same John Mensah, Essien and Muntari and Co qualified Ghana to the 2006 World Cup in Germany.
Our first time.
Yes. At that time, we had, within a period of 8-7 years, some of them were fading out, were beginning to not perform well. And then we had an under 20 team that went to Rwanda, won the AFCON in Rwanda, then went to the World Cup in 2009, under 20, and won the World Cup. There was Ajiman Bedu, Andre Ayew, Jonathan Mensah, what's the name? Dominic Adia. You know, that was 2009. And in 2010, we had to go for the AFCON in Angola. What happened? We took a chunk of the under 20 team that had won the World Cup to Angola. I quite remember our first game, Michael Essien got injured. We lost 3-1 to Ivory Coast. But we managed to go to the final with a blend of experience and youth. And we lost 1-0 to a very good Egyptian team. What happened?
Egypt at that time had been dominating. I mean, they had won the Ghana tournament in 2008, and 2010 they were primed to.
Just that, but for the Egyptians, they were also dominating club football in the CAF Inter-Club competition.
Yeah.
And then in 2010, the same under 20 team and part of the senior base players went to the World Cup in 2010, and we all knew what happened. So it comes down to the administrators, the handlers of our football. Currently, these football administrators don't have a plan when it comes to youth football. And that has been the basis of our success. So when you don't have a proper structure, for youth football, it would always be difficult for you to excel at the top. And that is why I started by making such an examples. And that is the problem.
Yeah, you mentioned management, technical team, and the playing body.
Yes.
We are going to go for a short break. When we come back, Felix will break down the issues. Maybe take us through what he sees wrong with the technical team before we look at the players. Welcome back. So before the break, Felix was sharing his views and telling us what he thinks has been the problem with the Black Stars relative to how the team has been managed. And I share some of those views, even though on this platform, I'm not permitted to share those views. But let's, so aside management, and I share your sentiments, there doesn't seem to be a clear-cut plan for development from the U17 to the 20 and even to the 23. The 23 team and the 23 team has been struggling to make it to the Olympics for the last 20 years. And the Olympics is 4 years. So what it means is that 5 Olympics, we have not been able to participate. That is, I mean, a big story enough. But let's put the management issues aside. What has been the problem with the technical aspect?
Well, Jerome, when you talk about the technical aspect, with the current technical team, inexperience is the main problem. Because you ask yourself, how experienced is somebody like Otuado? Not even for the African game on handling national team. How many games can you say Otuado has been on the bench to coach?
Yeah.
So the inexperience is there. If you look at his technical team, John Pentel is an assistant. How experienced is John Pentel as an assistant coach? If you look at the goalkeepers trainer, Fatal Dana, how experienced is he?
Yeah.
And you see, the technical team have been a problem for a very long time. And it also goes back to the administration, because we've appointed 5 coaches.
In 5 years.
In 5 years. And that tells you that technically we are not getting the best. And even for the one who was the best, which was Kwesi Appiah, we said he wasn't good.
Yeah.
You look at Otuado. When we had a very bad AFCON, the FA came out with a criteria as to who become the next Black Stars coach.
Yeah, which was, I mean, something good. At least giving us
standard.
A premise upon which to select the new coach.
Jerome, can you say that per what was listed, Otuado fit into that?
Well, I don't think so.
A 15-year proven track record, a serial winner, a talent developer and all that. He did not fall within that category. But you see, a lot of people have also called for Ghanaians to be given opportunity. And sometimes people need to be given opportunity. So aside the inexperience, I expected a lot from Otuado, because in his first coming, we spoke about how inexperienced he was. And he's coming in for the second time. He should have done better with a lot of the decisions, because I was thinking, you've been there for the first time, you saw the problems and the challenges that were there. Some players he needed to have faded. He was doing that. There are a lot of people around the team trying to cut all that. But I look at the current situation and it makes me feel that he still hasn't learned from his first coming.
Don't you think we have to? I mean, his first coming lasted, if at all he was the one in charge for that period, it was 6 months. Now he's barely spent a year or even less. Are you not one of those who think that in spite of the difficulties he's experiencing, we have to allow him a lot more time to see whether he can fix whatever is broken?
Jerome, I'm not calling for a sack, but he also needs to quickly adapt and learn. In his first coming, he's managed the same number of games now in his first coming. And his first coming, he won 2 games. His second coming, he's won 2 games. So the number of games is the same. Number of wins, nothing has changed. And as human as we are, we always want to see progress, especially when we've been given a second opportunity to improve. And that is what we are not seeing from Otuado. So if it means that beefing up the technical team for him, if it means that we need a lot of technology to enhance, if it means that he needs to do proper scouting, as to the performance of Ghanaian players or technically what needs to improve, it is upon him to do that.
How do you beef up the technical team without sacking the head coach? Because if Otto is the problem and he has to be changed. He has to be changed. Because I look at Sudan, for example, and I'm using Sudan not because I think they're any better than us. They are not, except that they have beaten us. I mean, you can't run away from that.
4 points for
Yes.
6.
But I look at Sudan, perhaps apart from Kwesi Appiah, Ignatius, who is one of the assistants there, doesn't have, I mean, that experience that you would say, you call for, assuming he was on the Black Stars.
But I can also say that Ignatius has more experience than the 2 assistants that are with Otuado on the Black Stars bench.
I don't think I would disagree because he's coached clubs in Ghana, about 3 of them.
Gideon, he's Techiman 11 Wonders, he's coached Dreams FC, he's coached in the 1st division, the 2nd division. He's been an assistant to some of the best coaches we've had. So he has the experience. But Jerome, sometimes you can beef up your technical team without sacking your head coach. A lot of teams and national teams are beefing up their technical team with set pieces coaches, defensive-minded coaches, with offensive-minded coaches. So you have your head coach, but there are other sub-coaches that are helping.
So in our case, then maybe the first sub-coach we'll have to go for will be an offensive-minded coach, because, I mean, offensively, the way we play, a lot of things, you see a lot of deficits in the way we play when we attack. Because how many games has Otuado played? And if you've won only 2, it doesn't speak well of a coach that is...
Yeah. Between the 2 games that we played against Sudan, we had 30 set pieces. That is offensive. Yeah. If you had a set piece coach, we could have managed or even get some shot on target. And even with the same set pieces, you look at the game that we played against Niger in Bakan. Look at the goal we conceded. And you see, club coaching is a bit different from national team coaches. Yeah. So maybe if you go to Monaco where Salisu plays, he has a defensive partner who is good when it comes to set pieces. But in the national team, probably might not. And then I want to come to the playing body.
Yeah, but before we go to the playing body, I want us to sum up some of the points you have raised so that, those watching us can make meaning of the conversation. So first of all, you spoke about the management side, which you think that there isn't a clear-cut plan for development to the senior national team. So that's a problem. And then